Sometimes people ask me, why am I so productive? How is it that I can write 4 books a year, give 100 talks, run 3 businesses, and do so much stuff of volunteer nature, traveling all over the world? Well, the answer is my organization system. And it's interesting, they interviewed 50 presidents of fast-growing companies in Inc. magazine. And they asked them, what time management system do you use? And you know, 49 out of the 50 used a yellow pad where they write down everything before they start. They said, well, what about a BlackBerry? What about a time management system? And what about, no, they just take a sheet of paper and they write down everything they have to do the night before, and they work from their list all day long. And you know, that's what I've been doing all my life. It's the most powerful time management tool of all. It's clear, it's visible, it's right there. You add new things onto it, you tick them off as you accomplish them, you roll forward the things you didn't complete to the next day. Most amazing time management system of all is a pad of paper, a pen, and you every single day. Now, there are 2 major sources of value in the world of work today. The first is time, and the second is knowledge. Today, time is the currency of modern business. The most important measure of time is duration, or speed. The most important quality that you can develop with regard to time is a sense of urgency. A sense of urgency is the habit of moving fast when an opportunity presents itself to you. Develop a bias for action. Fast tempo is essential to success. All successful people not only work hard, but they work fast. Now, everyone must stay focused on reducing the amount of time that it takes to get the same results. Customers will pay dearly for anyone who can reduce the time needed to get them the products and services that they want. People will pay more for someone who can satisfy their needs faster than someone else.
And especially when it comes to managing your time, when it comes to looking at what you should do on a day-to-day basis, focus on results, not activities.
You will always have too much to do and too little time. They say the average person has about 300 hours of projects to take care of right now. Books to read, magazines, newspapers, projects at home, work, and everything else. The fact is, you will never get caught up. So what they have found, and this is one of the great secrets of time management, is that you only get your life under control to the degree to which you stop doing things. Let me repeat that. You stop doing things. Now, what are the things that you stop doing? Well, the easiest way to set priorities and to determine this is to use the 80-20 rule. That if you make a list of 10 things that you have to do each day, 2 of those items will be worth more than all the other 8 put together. The top 20% of activities account for 80% of your results. So you have to say to yourself, what are the 1 or 2 things on this list that are more important than anything else? And of all of these things, if I could only do 1 thing before I was called out of town for a month, which 1 thing would I be sure to get done today? And that becomes your number 1 priority. Now, over the years, the ability to set priorities, and I have written books on time management. I've trained hundreds of thousands of people in time management. My audio and video programs on time management are in multiple languages worldwide. And everything comes down to 1 thing, is selecting your most important task right now and starting on it right now, and then disciplining yourself to stay on it until it's done. If you make the mistake of trying to clear up small things first, you'll find out that small things multiply, and pretty soon you spent your whole day doing little things. Sometimes people ask me, why am I so productive? How is it that I can write 4 books a year, give 100 talks, run 3 businesses, and do so much stuff of volunteer nature, traveling all over the world? Well, the answer is my organization system. I began to study time management, and I've studied time management now for 15 years. I spent thousands and thousands of dollars on the subject. I've got libraries of books. I've been to countless courses. I've listened to all the audio cassettes. I've bought and used every time planner that's ever been made with regard to time management. And I found that there is a core element in time management, and it is the element of priorities.
I think that the ability to focus and concentration are the 2 keys to success in life. That the ability to focus clearly and know exactly what it is you want to accomplish, and the ability to concentrate single-mindedly on accomplishing that 1 thing without diversion or distraction are the keys to success. It's the number 1 key to effectiveness, is to be able to sit down and look at your work and use the 80-20 rule. Say to yourself, Which is the 20% of the number of things that I have to do that account for 80% of the value of my work? And always work on the top 20%. You see, in life, there's never enough time to do everything, but there's always enough time to do the important things. Instead of doing what is fun and easy, which is what most people do, you know what they do? They make a list of everything they have to do, and then they start at the bottom of the list and they work on the irrelevant things. At the end of the day, they haven't got anything done. Successful people, peak performers, concentrate on the top items. And remember, anything other than working on the top items on your list is a waste of your time. And time management is not just time management is life management. You can do anything you want with your life if you'll manage your time properly. We all have the same 24 hours a day, and the ability to concentrate, to discipline yourself, to use willpower and perseverance to concentrate on one thing at a time is a quality of all success. Nothing great has ever been accomplished without the ability to concentrate single-mindedly on one thing at a time. Always concentrate on the best use of your time.
There's probably no skill that's more closely correlated with success and achievement in every part of your life than the ability to manage your time well. It'll bring you to the attention of your superiors faster. It'll help you to get more done in a shorter period of time. It'll make you feel better about yourself. It'll lead to faster promotions, higher status, greater pay, and everything. Time management is essential to your health as well. Not just your productivity, but you only feel good about yourself to the degree to which you feel you're in control of your time and your life. In fact, the major reason for stress in America is a feeling of being out of control, a feeling of having too much to do and too little time to do it in.
Here is my favorite time management question, which I give to you for free. It's simply this. Before you start anything, ask yourself, what is the most valuable use of my time right now? Make a list and say, what is the most valuable use of my time right now? When you get into your car, say, what is the most valuable use of my time right now? When you leave the house or leave the office, say, what is the most valuable use of my time right now? Ask yourself that question over and over and over again. Repeat it and repeat it and repeat it until it's driven into the subconscious mind as a command. And whenever you have a temptation to do something that is small and irrelevant, that command will go, blam, what is the most valuable use of your time right now? And you'll, whoo, and it'll push you into doing what is the most valuable use of your time. And whenever you're working on the most valuable use of your time, you feel great. You get concentrated effort is a source of energy and enthusiasm. It makes you feel wonderful when you're working on something important, and it makes you feel nothing when you're working on something irrelevant.
Now, procrastination is not only the thief of time, it is also the thief of life. To outperform your competition, both inside and outside your organization, you must develop the time management habit of moving quickly when something needs to be done. You must develop a reputation for speed and dependability. The wonderful advantage of developing a sense of urgency and the habit of moving fast is that the faster you move, the better you get. This is because the faster you move, the more experience you get. The faster you move, the more you learn, and the more competent you become. The faster you move, the more energy and enthusiasm you have. People who move fast as a way of life soon develop a totally different temperament and personality than people who move slowly or who take a casual attitude toward their work. My friend Jim Rohn used to say, casualness brings casualties. In its simplest terms, successful people are more productive than unsuccessful people. Successful people have better habits. They dream bigger dreams. They work from written goals. They stay focused on what they need to get done. They do what they love to do, and they concentrate on getting better and better at it. They use their natural abilities to the fullest. They're continually generating ideas to solve problems and to achieve company goals. They focus on using every minute of their time to get maximum results.
Develop a sense of urgency. A sense of urgency is a quality that is possessed by only 2% of the population. 2% of the population do things fast. 2% of the population have a bias for action. In Tom Peters' wonderful book, In Search of Excellence, he says that all the excellent companies have a bias for action. And all of the companies that do not classify or do not come into the excellence category do things when they get around to it. You call them up and you have a problem or a complaint. You hear from them 3 or 4 weeks later. But the excellent companies, you call up with a problem or a complaint, and bang, there's somebody back to you in 2 minutes. If you ever want an experience, call IBM, call Hewlett-Packard, and say, I'm having a problem getting some information. I'm having a problem with my PC. They won't let you off the phone until they've taken care of you. You call the other companies, they'll say, it's not my job. They'll say, the guy who takes care of that isn't here. When will he be back? I don't know. Can you take a message? I don't have a pencil. You know, you've spoken to those people? And then they can't understand why they're struggling. You know that 20% of the companies make 80% of the profits in every industry? Interestingly enough. So develop a sense of urgency. Get the reputation as the person who does things fast. Develop a reputation for speed and dependability, and your future will just open up in front of you. Imagine if you owned a company and you had two people in the company, and both of them were reasonably well talented, both of them were doing reasonably well, except one person had a sense of urgency and did things fast. And every time you give them something to do, they took it and they ran with it like a ball player catching a fumble and running for the goal line. The other person got to it after lunch, or maybe next Monday, or no rush, week's almost over, Thursday afternoon, and so on. Which one would you give additional responsibility to? Which one would you promote? Which one would you spend money training? Which one would you send to places where you needed help? It's always the person with a sense of urgency. I can tell you this, that the sense of urgency for me has been worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. As a consultant, I have been able to save my clients sometimes millions of dollars by acting fast when they've given me a project to take care of, whereas if I had acted even a day later, it could have cost a fortune. And if you'll develop that habit of working fast, that sense of urgency, act now, do it now, do it now, do it now. In selling especially. Somebody calls you up and has a question, get back to them now. Somebody has a problem, get back to them now. Somebody needs something, move on it quickly. If you have to forego coffee breaks or lunch or something else, move fast. If you develop that reputation for speed, it will be worth a fortune to you. Takes a little while, but it's a habit. Most people just sort of shuffle through life. You know, they get to it when they feel like it. But all the excellent people, all the high performers have a sense of urgency.
I want to give you 4 time management tips for work-life balance. Now, time management behaviors are very much a matter of choice. You choose to be efficient or you choose to be disorganized. You choose to focus and concentrate on your highest value tasks, or you choose to spend your time on activities that contribute very little to your life. You choose to be positive or you choose to be negative, and you're always free to choose. Now, the starting point of overcoming your previous programming and eliminating the mental blocks to time management is for you to make a clear, unequivocal decision to become excellent at the way you use your time. You must decide right here and now that you are going to become an expert in time management to improve the quality of your life. Your aim should be to manage your time so well that people look up to you and use you as a role model for their own work habits. There are 4 time management methods that you can use to program yourself for peak performance to improve your work-life balance. Here they are. The first of these methods for programming your subconscious mind is positive self-talk, or the use of positive affirmations. These are commands that you pass from your conscious mind to your subconscious mind. Positive affirmations are statements that you say either out loud or you say to yourself, but with the same emotion and enthusiasm that drives the words into your subconscious mind as new operating instructions. So to improve your time management, you can continually repeat positive affirmations such as, I have beautiful work-life balance, or I concentrate easily on my highest payoff tasks. My favorite time management affirmation is, I use my time well. I use my time well. I use my time well. And I repeat this to myself over and over again. When you repeat positive affirmations over and over, they're eventually accepted by your subconscious mind as part of your new programming. You will then find that your external behaviors will start to reflect your internal programming to improve your work-life balance and quality of life. Now, the second technique that you can use to program your subconscious mind is through visualization. Mental pictures most immediately influence your subconscious mind. In self-image psychology, the person you see is the person you will be through positive affirmations and clear mental pictures. So begin to see yourself as well organized and efficient and effective in time management. Recall and recreate memories and pictures of yourself when you were performing at your best, when you felt very efficient and effective and in control. Think of a time when you were working efficiently and effectively and getting through an enormous amount of work. Play this picture over and over of yourself in the screen of your subconscious mind until your subconscious mind accepts this as your reality. Now, the third time management technique is simple. Sit or lie in a quiet place where you can be completely alone in the silence. Through positive affirmations, imagine yourself going through an important upcoming experience, such as a meeting or a presentation, or a negotiation, or even a date that would improve the quality of your life. As you sit or lie completely relaxed, create a picture of the coming event and see it unfolding perfectly in every respect, like a movie of your mind. See yourself as calm and positive and in complete control. See the other people doing and saying exactly what you would want them to do if the situation was perfect. The fourth mental technique will change the quality of your life through experience of time management. Imagine that you have been selected for a role in a movie or stage play. In this role, you are to act the part of a person who's extremely well organized in every respect. As you go through your daily life, imagine you are an actor who is playing this part, who is already very good at time management. Act as if you are already using your time efficiently and well. Pretend that you are an expert in personal efficiency and time management. Fake it until you make it. When you pretend that you are excellent in time management, eventually the action, which is under your direct control, will develop the mindset or the belief in your subconscious mind. In other words, you can act yourself into feeling and believing yourself to be excellent in time management.
The Greeks said that moderation in all things is the key to a happy life. Moderation. Now, sometimes people say, well, I don't have time for my family. I don't have time to exercise. I don't have time for this and time for that. Whenever you find yourself getting out of sync with regard to balance, and especially when you feel that you don't have the time, is when you most need to stop and think. So here's the question to ask. What would I do if I only had 6 months to live? If you find yourself working too hard or not spending time in your relationships, not spending time with the people you care about and who care about you, then ask yourself, what would I do if I only had 6 months to live? And if what you would do is you'd spend more time with the important people in your life, the time to start spending that time is now. So what would you do if you had 6 months to live? You know, it's an old joke that doctors say is that they never met a businessman on his deathbed who said, boy, I wish I'd spent more time at the office. The fact of the matter is that balance and moderation in all things increases your productivity, increases your efficiency. And remember, the only reason you're working is so that you can enjoy the great things of life, which are your people, your relationships, the things that make you happy, and so on.
Imagine that you are financially independent, that you have 20 million pounds in the bank, and simultaneously, you only have 10 years to live. You're going to enjoy superb health, but you have all the money that you need, and you have to work at something. You cannot be a layabout. So therefore, if you could work at anything, and you had all the money you needed, and you didn't want to waste any time, what career would you choose? If you could wave a magic wand and have all the talent and skill that you need to be successful in any field, what field would you choose for yourself? And then what you do is you just start to do some research on that field. Work in it part-time, work in it for free, read books and courses, talk to people who are in it. And I have spoken to literally thousands of people over the years who did that and eventually changed out of their current job, sometimes within their same company, changed out of their current job where they weren't very satisfied into a new job that they loved, and they became a star at that new job. And virtually everybody can do this.
I'm going to give you a law that is my favorite law of time management, and it's called the law of three. And this law alone will enable you to be one of the most productive and successful people in your world. The law of three is based on my 30 years of study into time management. And what it basically says is that if you make a list of everything that you have to do in a week or a month, you'll come up with 20 or 30, some people write down 40 or 50 tasks or activities. But if you look at this list, you'll find there's only 3 activities that you engage in your life that account for 90% of the value that you contribute in your life. Wherever you are in life, there's only 3 things that account for 90% of your happiness. It's only 3 things. This law of 3 works everywhere, and it works for everyone. It works if you're a doctor or an investment banker or a salesperson or a business owner or a student. Whatever, there's always 3. And so what you do is you make a list of everything you do, and then you ask 3 questions. Question number 1 is that if I could only do one thing on this list all day long, which one activity would have the greatest positive impact on my life? Or you could say, if I could only do one activity all day long, which one activity would help me to double my income faster than anything else? And that answer is usually pretty obvious. So you put a circle around that. And then you ask it again. If I could only do 2 things all day long, what would be the second most valuable thing that I could do? And you go through your list and you come up with number 2. And then you ask the question the 3rd time. If I could only do 3 things all day long, what would be number 3? And you circle it. Now, I put every one of my students through this exercise, and they're all astonished because in a few minutes, they see clearly that these are the 3 most important things that they do in achieving their goals of health, wealth, and happiness. And so the rule is this, is do fewer things in your daily life, but do more important things. And do them more of the time, and then get better, improve in each one of those areas. So in your life, there's 3 things that you do that are more important than everything else. And these will change over time. But you must be clear about those 3 things, and if you start working on only those 3 things, you will double your productivity, performance, and output very quickly if you can concentrate on the 3 most important things you do.
Well, there's 4 requirements for you to make these techniques work for you. We call these the 4 Ds. The first D is desire. It's want. You must have a burning desire to be effective at time management. The second D is decision. You must make a decision that you are going to become an expert in this subject. You are going to take this course, you're going to use these materials, you're going to practice them over and over again, because what we have found is in the absence of a decision, nothing ever happens. You need a clear, unequivocal, do or die, burn the bridges decision that this is a subject that you are going to master. The third D is discipline. You must discipline yourself to practice and repeat over and over again good time management techniques. In fact, we say that time management is self-discipline in action. And the ability to discipline yourself more than anything else is going to determine your success in life. And the 4th D, to become excellent in time management, is determination. You must have the ability to persist. You must have the determination to keep on keeping at it, long enough until you become very, very good in this field. But I promise you this, the payoff is tremendous, because you see, time management is really life management. Everything that you do to improve the quality of your time management will improve and enhance every part of your life. You can even say it this way, the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your time management. The quality of your life will be determined by the way you use your time minute to minute, hour to hour, day to day, because your time is your life. In every single study of high-performing men and women, we find that intense result orientation goes hand in hand with big payoffs in life. You see, it's not how much time you put in or the activities that you engage in or how sincere or how intelligent or competent or capable or anything else. It's only what you produce, the results that you get from the time that you put in, that counts in determining your rewards, not only your psychic rewards, how good you feel about yourself, but your financial rewards. You're always paid in direct proportion to the quality and the quantity of the results that you produce. Point number 1 is that your rewards in life will always equal your results. As we call this the law of sowing and reaping, the law of cause and effect, that the cause of everything that happens to you is your ability to get results, and these are your rewards. If you want to increase the quality and quantity of your rewards, you have to think all the time about increasing the quality and quantity of your results. Now, the second point is this, is that most people are very unproductive. Most people could not do a full day's work if their life depended upon it. In fact, every study that I've ever seen suggests that the average person works at only 50% of capacity. In fact, in most work environments, about 30% of all the work time is spent in socializing, gossiping, wasting time, talking, chit-chatting, hanging around the water fountain, reading the newspaper, drinking coffee, and so on. What does it mean to you? It means if the average person is working at 50% or less of capacity, there are tremendous opportunities for you, if you'll do some of the things that we talk about, to rapidly move ahead of other people. The starting point of getting things done is the quality of neatness. The quality of neatness means that you start with a clean desk and you end with a clean desk. You start with a clean briefcase and you end with a clean briefcase. You take the time to make sure that your entire working environment looks neat and professional and productive and effective. Remember this, it's not just what you do, but it's the perception of other people of what you do that counts. I read a story by a self-made millionaire who said that he built 5 successful companies, and one of their critical rules was that every single person kept a clean desk. Now, the fourth key in getting things done is the importance of focus. Focus, which leads to clarity. Now, we talk about this over and over again. Focus means that you're absolutely clear about what you're trying to accomplish. Focus means that you're absolutely clear about your key result areas and why you're on the payroll. We say that fuzzy focus leads to fuzzy results. Clear focus leads to clear results. And this means that you take the time to think. You take the time to think through, why am I on the payroll? What have I been hired to accomplish? What are my key result areas? What are my core functions? What are the 20% of the things that I do that account for 80% of my results? And so on. So the starting point in getting things done is focus and clarity. I call this it's like adjusting the camera all the time. So you keep your focus very, very clear.
Well, the next key principle is concentration. Now, concentration is what you do is once you've decided on the most important idea to achieve your most important goal, then you have to concentrate single-mindedly on one thing until it's complete. Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, the richest man in the world and the third richest man, were at a dinner party at Bill Gates' home last year. And there were about 100 guests, and they were standing around at the reception, drinking wine and so on. And these 3 men, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, and Bill Gates' father, are good friends. And so they were standing, talking, and one of the other guests came up and said, "Excuse me, gentlemen, you are 3 of the most important people in the world. What would you say is the most important key to success today?" And they stopped talking, and they all turned, and they said, "Focus. Focus is the most important quality for success today." We're so surrounded by so many distractions of so many kinds that the ability to focus is more important for success than any other quality. Now, I developed a philosophy when I was young and broke. And the philosophy was that if rich, successful people tell you to do something, you should do it. If they tell you that this is a key to their success, then you should at least practice it for a while to see if it applies to you. What I have learned, and what I learned coaching my clients, my business owners, is I taught them how to focus. I taught them how to select specific goals and activities in each area of their life and how to focus like a laser beam on one goal at a time. If you can do that, you can conquer the world.
Now, concentration is, in reality, where all the work in time management leads us to. It is the ability to concentrate 100% on one thing, setting priorities, the most important thing, and to stay with that single task until it's finished. Concentration means moving forward in a straight line toward the goals and objectives that you've clearly identified. It means concentrating without diversion or distraction. Focus and concentration. I believe in 25 years of research that the reasons for success and happiness in life are focus and concentration. The reasons for lack of success and unhappiness are lack of focus, lack of concentration.
I have found the most important time management or personal productivity principle of all. And it is this, is make a list of everything you do in the morning before you start work, and then select the one item on that list that's more important than any others in terms of potential consequences, and then start on that one task and then work on it 100% of the time until it's complete. Now, if you can do that, you can double and triple your productivity, become one of the highest paid and most respected people in your world. Select your most important task, start on it immediately, work on it 100% of the time until it's complete. Because here's what I discovered in 30 years of studying and writing books on time management is that task completion is the key to success. It is not tasks that you work on, but it's only the tasks that you complete. If you're a student, it's completing your assignments and your reports. If you're a salesperson, it's completing the sales. If you're a business person, it's completing different transactions. Everything in life is completing tasks. Now here's a wonderful payoff. When you complete an important task, it gives you an increased sense of self-esteem and personal power. Your self-confidence goes up. You get more energy and more ideas. You feel happy about yourself. Whenever you complete a task, your brain gives you a rush of endorphins. And endorphins make you happy and more alert and more creative. They strengthen your immune system so that you're never sick. So you'll find that what successful people do is they're always starting and completing tasks. And especially they start and complete them on time. Now what does this require? It requires our old friend and enemy, self-discipline.
Now, what we know about task completion is that not only is it the key to the future, not only is it the key to getting more and greater and better opportunities, but important task completion, doing something that's important to you and carrying it through and finishing it 100% at the end is a source of energy, enthusiasm, and high self-esteem. Men and women who are working consistently on getting important things done and staying with it till they're complete are more positive, they're more optimistic, they're more self-confident, they have more belief in self-assurance in themselves, and they get more opportunities to complete more tasks. And here's the flip side, is completing low-priority tasks leads to stress. If you work and you get a lot of little things done, but they're not moving you toward the accomplishment of things that are really important to you, what happens is you just feel crummy as a result.
We find that the average Brit, average German, average French person works about 1,600 hours a year. Average executive or business owner works about 2,000 hours a year. So what you do is you take your annual income and you divide it by 2,000. So let's say you're earning 100,000 pounds a year. Divided by 2,000, that means that you're earning 50 pounds an hour. This is your hourly rate over time. You can even include all your benefits and pensions and so on. But whatever it is, just let's say your hourly income is 50 pounds an hour. That means by law, Ricardo's law, David Ricardo, the British economist, law of comparative advantage, is you don't do anything that pays less than $50 an hour. You only do things that pay you $50 an hour or more, or that people would pay you 50 quid an hour or more to do. And everything else you delegate. If there's something that someone else can do for 10 pounds an hour, you hire somebody to do that. 20 pounds an hour, 30 pounds an hour, you keep hiring people who can do things, tasks, at a lower hourly rate than yourself. Now here's the great discovery, and this again is life-changing. I call it the law of three. The law of three says that no matter how many things you do, how many tasks you do in a week or a month, and it's usually 20 or 30, 3 of those tasks account for 90% of your value. Only 3. And you make a list of all of your tasks, and I do this with my business owners, and I have them go through this, and they're astonished. And they double their income within 30 days. Because I ask them the 3 magic questions. Magic question number 1. If you could only do one thing on this list, one task on this list, all day long, which one task would have the greatest positive impact on your career? Which one task? Well, it'll usually pop, it'll jump out at you. So you put a circle around it. Then you say, if you could only do 2 things all day long, which would be number 2? And you put a circle around that. If you could only do 3 things all day long, which would be number 3? Put a circle around that. And suddenly it's almost like all these other tasks fade. Like in a camera shoot, in a movie, they fade, and those 3 tasks are sitting there, like those 3 magic tasks, and you realize, oh my God, those are my big 3. Everything else is secondary. Everything else can be done by someone else, or done later, or not done at all. And then you focus on the 3. So here's the rule for doubling your income, and doubling it again, and doubling it again. Do fewer things, but do more important things, and do them more often, and get better at them. Repeat. Do fewer things, the big 3. Do more important things. Do more of them. Spend more of your day working on those 3 tasks, and then get better at those tasks, so you can get more of them done faster at a higher level of quality. If you will practice the law of 3, you'll transform your life. If you combine that with the eat the frog and work on your most important task, the one that can contribute the most value, and you can do that until it becomes a habit, just automatic. You get up in the morning and you just start work on your most important task, and you say, no, I don't do that. I don't do little tasks. Those are not my job. People say, what about this, what about that? I say, excuse me, I'm management, not labor. I do management tasks. I do my big three. Labor does all these other things. They go, ho. So you, person who's watching this right now, is your management, not labor. Think of yourself as management and do your three tasks. If you can do that until it becomes a habit, you're going to conquer the world.
All of us, over the course of our lives, want to develop character. And character has been defined several ways. One definition I like is that character is the ability to follow through on a resolution after the enthusiasm with which the resolution was made has passed. So taking this course, by the way, you will make a lot of decisions and commitments and resolutions. The true measure of character is whether or not you have the capacity to follow through. Character, in effect, is self-discipline in action. Character is self-discipline in action. You can tell how much character you have by how willing you are to discipline yourself to make the sacrifices that are necessary in the short term to have a great life in the long term.
Many years ago, I began to study the subject of time management because I thought it was a very helpful subject, and I was amazed at how much there was in time management. I then produced programs and books, and my books on time management are now the best-selling in the world in 40 languages. But what I learned was a concept, and the concept was called consequences. Consequences, I found, is one of the most important words in our world. And the reason is that in time management, something is important to the degree to which it has big potential consequences. And something is unimportant to the degree to which it has low or no consequences. Thinking has the greatest consequences of all. In fact, if you look at people who are successful and people who are unsuccessful, successful people do things that have greater long-term consequences. And unsuccessful people do things that have low or no consequences. And thinking has the greatest consequences of all.
And especially the way you think about your time and your life. And if you think more effectively, if you think more positive, if you think more constructively about yourself, your time, your life, your activities, your relationships, your work, and so on, you actually improve them all. The first thing I want to talk about is what is called the development of a personal philosophy of time. A personal philosophy of time. Now, personal philosophy of time also means a personal philosophy of life. What is life? What does it mean? What does it stand for? And in life, there are two basic worldviews, and basically they're at opposite ends of the pole, and sometimes we fall in the middle. But the first worldview is a benevolent worldview. People with a benevolent worldview are those who have a positive mental attitude, generally speaking, toward themselves and their life. They believe in their own potential. They believe in love and life and beauty. They believe in growing to the realization of their full capabilities. They believe that life is pretty good and that they can have a major impact. They can make a contribution and do something substantial with their lives. People with a benevolent worldview are the movers and shakers and the builders of all of time. Now, the other type of people are those who have a malevolent worldview. These are people who have a negative mental attitude, if you like, and they have, first of all, a negative mental attitude toward themselves. They have a negative mental attitude toward other people, toward the world. They see injustice and oppression. They see unhappiness and misery. They see unfairness and people having a hard life. They have a tendency to be angry and to have low self-esteem, but always a malevolent worldview requires someone or something else to blame, someone or something to criticize, something to be down on. That's why you find that people with a malevolent worldview are always in contra-opposition, or if you like, in conflict with people with a benevolent worldview. In order for you to achieve your potential, remember the most important people, the most productive people, the most creative people are always those who have a benevolent, positive, constructive worldview, and that's your goal.
The number one reason why some people get more work done faster is because they are absolutely clear about their goals and objectives, and they don't deviate from them. The more clear you are about what it is you want and what you have to do to achieve it, the easier it is for you to overcome procrastination, eat your frog, and get on with the completion of the task. A major reason for procrastination and lack of motivation is vagueness, confusion, and fuzzy-mindedness about what you are supposed to do and in what order and for what reason. You must avoid this common condition with all your strength by striving for ever greater clarity in everything you do.
You need to persevere and persist single-mindedly toward the completion of your important task, because we say that the ability to concentrate is a discipline, and perseverance or persistence is self-discipline in action. You see, anybody can start off to do a job, but your ability to keep in there and keep slogging and stay with it and refuse to budge and keep moving is the critical factor of high performance. Remember that the average person, especially executives, pick up an important piece of paper or task as many as 5 times before they actually complete work on the task. What does this mean? It means that if you pick up the task and you focus single-mindedly on that, and it's your most important, and you concentrate on it till it's complete, you can give yourself a 500% savings in time or increase in productivity. This has been proven in study after study after study, that the fastest way to increase your output is to pick up a task and to stay with that task instead of picking it up and coming back and picking it up and coming back and so on.
The 80-20 rule is one of the most helpful of all concepts of time and life management. It's also called the Pareto principle after its founder, the Italian economist Vilfredo Pareto, who first wrote about it in 1895. Pareto noticed that people in his society seemed to divide naturally into what he called the vital few, the top 20% in terms of money and influence, and the trivial many, the bottom 80%. He later discovered that virtually all economic activity was subject to this Pareto principle as well. For example, this rule says that 20% of your activities will account for 80% of your results. 20% of your customers will account for 80% of your sales. 20% of your products or services will account for 80% of your profits. 20% of your tasks will account for 80% of the value of what you do, and so on. This means that if you have a list of 10 items to do today, 2 of those items will turn out to be worth as much or more than all the other 8 items put together.
The law of comparative advantage is an economic law that says that you should always hire or pay someone else to do something that can be done if they can be paid a lower hourly rate than the rate that you desire. For instance, if your goal is to earn $25 an hour and it costs $6 an hour to mow your lawn or wash your car, you should always hire someone to do that. You should always pay someone else at a lower hourly rate so that you can free up your time to perform higher value activities. All of companies and organizations are designed around this. The individual starts off doing everything, and then as the company becomes busier and more successful, what the individual does is they hire people to do lower value activities so you can spend more time doing higher value activities. Don't ever do $5 an hour work if you want to earn $25 an hour. Don't ever work on low value activities if you want to earn the results that come from completing high value activities. Remember, time is the one irreplaceable, indispensable resource of accomplishment. Is that all accomplishment, all achievement requires time. And if you use it on something of low value, it's gone forever, it's perishable, and you don't have it to work on things that are really important to you.
Here's an interesting discovery. Each of these tasks may take the same amount of time to accomplish, but 1 or 2 of these tasks will contribute 5 or 10 times the value of any of the others. Often, one item on a list of 10 tasks that you have to do can be worth more than all the other 9 items put together. This task is invariably the frog that you should eat first. Can you guess on which items the average person is most likely to procrastinate? You're right. The sad fact is that most people procrastinate on the top 10 or 20% of items that are the most valuable and important, the vital few. They busy themselves instead with the least important 80%, the trivial many, that contribute very little to results. You often see people who appear to be busy all day long but seem to accomplish very little. This is almost always because they are working on tasks that are of low value, while they procrastinate on the 1 or 2 activities that could make a real difference to their companies and to their careers. The most valuable tasks you can do each day are often the hardest and most complex. But the payoff and rewards for completing these tasks efficiently can be tremendous. For this reason, you must adamantly refuse to work on tasks in the bottom 80% while you still have tasks in the top 20% left to be done. Before you begin work, always ask yourself, is this task in the top 20% of my activities or in the bottom 80%? And here's a rule for success. Resist the temptation to clear up small things first. Remember, whatever you choose to do over and over again eventually becomes a habit that's hard to break. If you choose to start your day on low-value tasks, you will soon develop the habit of always starting and working on low-value tasks. This is not the kind of habit you want to develop or keep.
You need to look at everything that you're expected to do based on your hourly rate. If your desired hourly rate is $10 or $20 or $30 or $40 or $50 an hour, then you ask yourself, is what I am doing now paying my hourly rate? Is what I'm doing now worth my hourly rate? Or ask yourself this way, if you're reading the newspaper or watching television or sitting around socializing, would you pay another person your hourly rate to engage in this activity? How much would you pay per hour to have a person watch television for you? When you're watching television, you should ask yourself, how much would I pay per hour to watch this television show? The average person doesn't realize that the amount of time that they spend watching television is in itself, if it were used to upgrade your skills and abilities, it's in itself enough to make you rich over the course of your working lifetime. A television can cost you thousands of dollars, even tens of thousands of dollars a year, if you don't think about the fact that when you're watching television, you're not doing something that is increasing your productivity.
The hardest part of any important task is getting started on it in the first place. Once you actually begin work on a valuable task, you seem to be naturally motivated to continue. A part of your mind loves to be busy working on significant tasks that can really make a difference. Your job is to feed this part of your mind continually. Just thinking about starting and finishing an important task motivates you and helps you to overcome procrastination. The fact is that the amount of time required to complete an important job is often the same as the time required to do an unimportant job. The difference is that you get a tremendous feeling of pride and satisfaction from the completion of something valuable and significant. However, when you complete a low-value task, using the same amount of time and energy, you get little or no satisfaction at all. Time management is really life management, personal management. It's really taking control of the sequence of events. Time management is control over what you do next. And you are always free to choose the task that you will do next. Your ability to choose between the important and the unimportant is the key determinant of your success in life and work. Effective, productive people discipline themselves to start on the most important task that is before them. They force themselves to eat that frog, whatever it is. They accomplish vastly more than the average person and are much happier as a result. This should be your way of working as well.
Time management is a lifelong skill. It's a lifelong commitment. It's not something that you learn and that you put aside. Time management is a discipline, but it's like physical exercise. It's like eating. It's like sleeping. It's like hygiene, brushing your teeth. You have to work on it continuously. Every single day you have to get up and you have to think consciously about how you're going to manage your time, how you're going to use it today. Remember, time is life. So you have to think continually about how you're going to use your life more effectively. A key part of time management is to take the short view, which means to measure out your time in minutes. We find the most productive people in our society, the most important, the most prominent, are those who are the most fastidious about their time management. They measure out their time in 10-minute chunks like accountants and lawyers and doctors, whereas unsuccessful people measure out their times in half days and full days and weeks. So take the short view. Be fastidious about your time. Following that is know where your time goes. Know where your time goes. Take the time to think. Know where your time goes so that you can ask yourself if this is how you want to spend your time. Analyze it. Keep a list of how you spend your time. Look and ask yourself all the time, is this consistent with what I want to do and what I want to accomplish? Just say no if a particular activity does not contribute to the highest value use of your time. Just say no if something is not helping you. Use the techniques of delay in order to gain time to think about whether or not you want to do something. One of the best techniques I've ever used and discovered is what is called the 24-hour technique. No matter what anybody wants you to do, ask for 24 hours to think about it. Think about it overnight. Think about it over the weekend. Think about how you're going to say no, and just say no to anything that does not contribute to accomplishing things that are important to you. Dr. Edward Banfield of Harvard University studied success for years and years in this context. He said, what are the characteristics of people that cause them to move up socioeconomically in the course of their lifetime? What are the predictors of upward social evolution? And what he found out was that long-time perspective was the critical factor, that this is an attitude. And people with long-time perspective, as we mentioned briefly before, are those who take a look at where they are now and where they want to be in 20 years. And they make sure that everything that they're doing today is going to help them in the long term. They are willing to work hard today knowing that the payoff will come much, much later. And as you go up socioeconomically, you find that people's time perspective stretches out further and further. So develop the long view. Now, when we say developing the long view, we mean that people with the long view are willing to sacrifice in the short term for benefits in the long term. They're willing to study and prepare and plan and work. They're willing to practice the law of accumulation, which says that every great achievement is an accumulation of hundreds and thousands of efforts that a person puts in that nobody ever sees, but a person is willing to do it, realizing that the payoff will be tremendous. Taking a time management course or program and learning these things is an investment of time with a payoff that can last for a long time. Now, the third key, which comes out of the long view, is the ability to delay gratification. Economists agree that the number one reason why people or even economies fail is because of the inability to delay gratification. They want to spend all of their time, all of their money now. They want to have fun and do what is fun and easy rather than what is hard and necessary.